is the Cougars are rolling towards a Big 12 title game appearance. That's the good news, but does not come without bigotry. We saw or heard, I had people texting me about it who were there in Cincinnati, that the F the Mormons chant broke out once again in this game. And it sounded like it was emanating from the student section. Now, let me be very clear about this, is that I am a very proud member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I do not take lightly to anybody stepping on my religion, nor should anybody in that circumstance. Kent has a good point here. They need to let those people who are making the chant know that we just donated 27,000 pounds of food. Maybe they should do some research before they speak. Kent has a very good point. BYU and the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints donated 27,000 pounds of food to the student pantry at the University of Cincinnati. They were feeding students that are chanting that abhorrent thing and directing it at BYU. The issue I take and the umbrage I take is that if you want to chant F BYU, okay, that's one thing. That's an institution. That's a football program. That's one thing. If you start chanting F the Mormons, then you're attacking a protected class. And we don't in our society today, we don't condone it with Jews, Muslims. We don't condone it with Roman Catholics. But for some reason, there is still a thought out there, and I would have thought that Cincinnati and other Big 12 programs would have learned from the Colorado incident earlier this year that netted Colorado a rebuke and a $50,000 fine, that don't do it for years. And I'm a kid who grew up in the Mountain West and WAC era. The Wyoming football fans, they are a hardy bunch. And for years, I'm talking decades, Wyoming has chanted F BYU when BYU was showing up in Laramie, Wyoming. I never took issue with Wyoming fans chanting FBYU. You know what? You want to be derogatory towards BYU because they're kicking your butt? That's one thing. But if you're going to go after my religion, then I got a problem with it. So that's where I draw the line on this. And I'm expecting the Big 12 will come out with a statement, will impose a fine on Cincinnati, and Cincinnati will issue a ChatGPT inspired message that'll be directed at BYU. We apologize for our fans' behavior, and in no way this reflects the blah, 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 blah of our students, our fan. That's all going to happen. Just expect it. It's going to happen. So you can look at it in one prism and say, hey, just let it go. It's old, everybody. It's absolutely old. If you're going to feed these students who are going to turn around and chant that at you, man, that doesn't look good. So I do think it's an interesting dynamic at play here. And like I said, I don't take kindly to my religion being denigrated. And like you can say that they were drunk, whatever. You would have thought, and I heard it about Texas Tech before their game, and that Texas Tech crowd was absolutely lively. They said it on the loudspeaker in no uncertain terms that they were not going to condone that chant from their student section or anybody else down there at Jones AT&T Stadium. That's the way it needs to be handled by everybody in the Big 12, and apparently Cincinnati didn't do that. I do expect, once again, a fine to be imposed by the Big 12 and a public reprimand from the conference. That's all they really can do at that point. We just need, I'm doing it here on my podcast, I got no problem to it, to call it out. Bigotry is bigotry and has no place. It has no place in our society. Mormons are a protected class. Members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints are a protected class under the laws of the land of the United States of America. And like I said, if you're not going to condone it for Jews, Muslims, Roman Catholics, any other protected class, it's off limits for this. FBYU, go right on ahead. If you have an issue with the university itself, okay, that's one thing. That's just the university or the football program that may be winning the football game against you. But if you're going to go after the religion, two different things. Okay, this is a good point by MGI. They are drunk college students. They don't really hate Mormons. We shouldn't take it personally. They are drunk. It happened in Colorado, and guess what Colorado got? Rebuked. They got fined. So I do think that it needs to be called out, and I'm calling it out. I don't have a problem with that. So Iowa State, did they get fined? I didn't hear about Iowa State. Did it happen at Iowa State, Brian? Because I did not hear about that at Iowa State. If it happened, it should have been fined. It needs to be addressed. It needs to be handled because it's not okay. It is absolutely unacceptable. So it did stop tortillas. Yeah, tortillas did get stopped because they threatened fine and other things for the tortillas down at Texas Tech. So I do have an issue just with the treatment of my religion. Call me soft, call me what you will. I don't care. It really is unacceptable. You got to call it out. You have to call it out. So we'll see what happens on that front. All right. So final thoughts here before we go. Some of you asked, I saw earlier on, about getting to Dallas or Fort Worth, or going to Arlington. You can fly out of Provo. You can. American Airlines flies out of Salt Lake and Provo Airport. So if you're in the Utah area, you can do that. And I do expect, assuming BYU gets the job done, Cougar fans are going to show up in droves in Arlington, Texas. It's not going to be a one-sided Texas Tech credit. Really, I expect BYU fans to be well represented. Yes, there'll be a lot of Texas Tech fans. They have a strong alumni base. Speaking of the Red Raiders in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, I'm expecting a pretty lively Big 12 title game if this is the way it plays out in Arlington in just a couple of weeks' time. Possible to hitchhike to Arlington. You can give it a shot, Bigfoot. I put the thumb out on I-15 and see if somebody will pick you up. If you see a Cougar fan wearing a uniform trying to hitchhike, assume they're going to Arlington, Texas, I guess. I don't know. I do think it's one of those things to pay attention to in terms of handle your business against UCF and then get ready for that rematch. Chase Roberts called it out after that Texas Tech game, said, we're going to get another crack at these guys and we're going to win. Those were some strong words from Chase Roberts in the aftermath of that game against Texas Tech. And I was really, really impressed that he was as bold as he was. But I think that BYU understood they did not play anywhere near their capability in that Texas Tech game. And they want another crack at these guys. Hop in the equipment truck, Bigfoot. There you go. Is it Feely and Hal who are the drivers for BYU's equipment trunk? I'm sure they wouldn't mind having some stragglers hop on board and take the trip down to Dallas. I can tell you this much. I have driven to and from Dallas by myself at one point in my life. I went to do summer cells one year. That is an extremely long and extremely boring drive. Eastern New Mexico, not fun. So if you're going to drive it, we'll see what happens. So best of luck with you guys. It is a 10 a.m. kickoff in Arlington, but as was mentioned earlier by Caden, that was the interesting thing is if this 11 a.m. kickoff for UCF is actually legit, it actually helps BYU condition themselves, 11 a.m. Mountain Time, 10 a.m. Mountain Time, and back-to-back weeks actually in some ways would help BYU a little bit. So that's one other thing to pay attention to. But we'll see what happens. All BYU needs is a chance. They want another chance to get a crack at Tech, and they very well may get that. Now, Dallin, Jake, how do you think BYU matches up against UCF? I do think they match up pretty darn well. UCF is a program that I think in time, Scott Frost will get it going again. I think he's a good coach, and he understands what it takes to win down there in Orlando. But the one thing that BYU's got on their side, and it's similar to what happened against Houston last year, is that if UCF has played a game that's colder than like 50 degrees this season, I'll be floored. And it may have been that cold actually in Stillwater. Oh, no, it wasn't Stillwater. They played at home against Oklahoma State. If they had played in a game that's lower than like 60 degrees at kickoff this season, I'd be floored. Houston last year came to Provo, hadn't played a game that kicked off in lower than 50 degrees all season long. Actually been years, I think, if I recall correctly. And all of a sudden, Houston's playing in Provo late on a Saturday night, and it's like 30 degrees outside. You can tell some of those Houston guys are like, whew, this is not fun. So I do think with the high currently projected to be 42 degrees in the day on Saturday, that cold weather, this is a UCF team. They're not used to playing in this weather. BYU ain't nothing. Playing at Cincinnati tonight, I saw actually a random Cincinnati fan. Is BYU ready for cold weather? And I about fell out of my chair laughing. BYU ready for cold weather? Do you realize where BYU plays? They literally are from the mountains, dude. Like that was the thing about this. So we'll see what happens. So it will be an interesting dynamic, and I do think that the cold weather plays to BYU's advantage. And honestly, if this is a game the way I expected to go against UCF, BYU just kind of goes in there and says, all right, we're going to run the ball down your throat. We may play action a time or two off of it, and we're just going to win this football game. And there's nothing you can do about it. And that's another good point by Guy. Altitude as well. The biggest altitude, I think, advantage in this day and age of college football is when it's cold and guys are coming from sea level where they're expecting it to be warm, and all of a sudden their lungs are burning. Because any of you who have played outdoors in Utah in the winter, You know how that it burns your lungs. It's what it feels like. That is absolutely going to help BYU's cause against the UCF. Are they the Golden Knights? No, the Knights, excuse me, UCF Knights. So we'll see what happens. I do look forward to this game. Look forward to breaking it down all week long. Mike Gittins, our host of Locked On UCF, will be joining me for a crossover. It's Thanksgiving week. It's the end of the regular season. And right there, staring in front of BYU is that Big 12 title game berth, everybody. It's still in their control. So long as they get through the next 60 minutes of football unscathed, BYU is going to Arlington, Texas, and let's celebrate that fact. So good point here also. I'll say this before we go here. MVX, since this is Locked On Cougars, not just Locked On Football, please note, Jake, that the BYU women just won NCAAs with Jane as the first scorer. They didn't actually win the NCAAs, did they? I think they finished second. And Jane Hendegren finished second overall as well. Maybe I'm wrong about that. So also BYU women's soccer, by the way, like talk about penalty shootout kings or queens, I should say. Another win as they advance to the Sweet 16. They played Monday against Stanford, number 1 seed Stanford out there in Palo Alto. So we got some good things going with BYU sports, everybody. BYU basketball, a huge win last night, running away from the Wisconsin Badgers. So really do think it was an impressive weekend for BYU sports with a lot of good performances by multiple programs out there. Women's volleyball won as well. So yeah, it is Locked On Cougars. We do focus on a lot of BYU football and a lot of BYU basketball. It does not preclude us from talking a little bit more about the other women's sports as well. So that's going to do it. I'm going to sign off now. It's well past 12:30 at this point. So hope you guys are absolutely doing great out there in Cougar Nation. Big win for BYU. No doubt about that. And as always, thank you to all of you for your support. If you don't mind, once again, like the show. If you're watching this on YouTube live or later on, if you're watching it on demand, like the show, subscribe, rate and review. And it's Turkey Week. So if you're spending time with family and friends who may not know about this podcast, tell them about it. It's daily BYU content they can't find anywhere else. And as always, thank you for all y'all's support. Have a great night. And of course, I'll have my film review coming up for you guys on Monday. Film review Monday. I got a BYU basketball game to recap as well. So big weekend in BYU sports, and feels like the good times are just getting rolling, everybody. So have a great night, and thank you once again for making Locked On Cougars your first listen day. We'll catch you guys again on Monday right here on your daily podcast. Focus on all things BYU, the Locked On Cougars podcast. See ya.